Hey everybody, Andrew back here with another video. The topic of this video is going to be growth, and the reason I decided to make this video is because I just went outside for a cigarette and I was thinking about the three things that I most enjoy about this world, and one of those three things is sharing the beauty of life with people. And I realized now that that's pretty much my whole motivation for this YouTube in general. It's to one, inspire people to want to keep living and to want to do more with their lives, and two, just to not be so overwhelmed and so stressed by all of the different variables and constant, things that are changing in life, because it's all a part of the beauty. And so this video right here is, like I said, it's about growth, but I'm also going to touch on a couple parts of growth, just like failure and release of the old so the new can come in and stuff like that. And so the first thing that I want to say about growth is that as humans, we have an interesting power, and what that power is, and I don't mean to make it sound like you have some kind of superpower or something, but it really is, from my point of view, because it doesn't take a lot of effort, it doesn't take anything, it's more of a mental thing that you do. And by doing this mental thing, you're going to constantly create growth. And what that mental thing is just putting your attention and putting your time and putting your care and putting your love into something that you actually enjoy. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you need to hear a million times, because the first 10,000 times, first 100,000 times you hear it, it's not going to get through to you. It's not going to make sense. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to make it make more sense to you so that you can actually apply it to your life. And so the cool thing about the power of attention, the power of focus, is that anything that you put your mind to is going to slowly grow, all right? So no matter whether that's a relationship, whether that's a skill, a practice, something that you want to get good at, no matter what it is, all you have to do is be patient and put time into it, and it's going to constantly grow. I mean, think, for example, about exercise. Think about cardio. Think about strength. Think about muscles. All of these things, they just grow, and all that you have to do is put a little bit of time each day into those things. And on another level, there's you as a human being. You grow, and all you have to do is put a little bit of time into being every single day. And I mean, like, that's more of a touchy subject, because a lot of the things that grow in a human are out of the human's control. It just kind of happens, and nobody knows why. And that's why it's such a miraculous thing, is because it's a natural process that's ongoing. If you look at the forest, if you look at a garden, if you look at animals, if you look at a whole ecosystem, if you look at anything, everything just naturally grows. It becomes bigger, it becomes more complex, more detailed. It finds new paths and new ways to operate and new ways to do things that are going to be more productive. And all of those things apply to whatever skill or whatever practice you want to get good at. So if most people really struggle with what they want to do because of all kinds of different things. Most people just want security. They just want safety. But after you have safety and after you have security, then what do you want to do next? What's the next thing that you want to do? And if you can figure that out and you can put just a little bit of time into that each day, then you're going to see growth. And as you go, you're going to come into barriers, but as you hit those barriers, you're going to realize that there's a way to get over them. And so whenever you hit that barrier in the future, you're going to be able to get over it because you've already done it. You've already learned in your own way how to get over it. And so everything in life is filled with these obstacles in which seem impossible to get over, but as soon as you learn the secret to get over them for the rest of your life, just so long as you learn how to apply the technique, then it becomes second nature. It's an easy obstacle to get over. And obstacles get bigger and bigger and bigger, and along with those obstacles come bigger and bigger methods in order to conquer those obstacles, making you a more respectable person and just more talented. It's just like, no matter what it is, let's give you an example. Like, for me personally, it's rap. In rapping, I'll hit all kinds of barriers, and I'll learn like, oh, okay, so because how I started rapping, how everybody pretty much starts everything is they see somebody else doing it, and so they try and adopt some of those qualities of how other people do it. And so I was like, okay, so you just kind of ride the melody in a certain kind of way. And so I learned how to ride the melody, but then I realized that that's repetitive, and I don't want to do the same thing that other people do, or I'm not going to be unique. And so that's a turning point in itself in a lot of things, is you can't do things the same way as everybody else did it, because doing it that way is going to grow the same way as somebody else did it. You have to add, you don't have to, but it's a good idea to add your own little twist to it so that you can master the obstacles in your own way. And I mean, I'm not saying don't read books, don't take lessons, don't have a mentor, because all of those things are very valuable. But the information that they give you on how to get over an obstacle, it's important to test it out rather than just take their word for it and try it. It's important to test it out and figure out how it really works, why it's a good strategy, and so on and so forth. And yeah, so that's one of the difficulties with growth, is that there's always obstacles. For weightlifting, for cardio, you always have the obstacle of like, how far can I actually go? Like, am I going to damage my muscles? Am I going to get that like constant cough that doesn't go away because I overran myself? Am I just going to be exhausted? And so all those things are barriers that seem completely impossible to conquer, but it's exactly that barrier in which your success is measured. How long you can go without damaging your muscles, how long you can go without, how long you can run without, getting exhausted, getting tired. And with music or any other talent, it's the same thing. How long can you persist in this opportunity? How long can you continue doing this thing that you want to do and putting love into it, no matter how difficult it seems? And as you do that, you're going to, like I said, you're going to get respect from other people who have attempted it. You're going to be successful in it, guaranteed. There's no such thing as luck when it comes to success, honestly, because success is something that people, like, you look at it like an obstacle, like you're on a track, okay? Look at it like you're on a track, and whatever it is, the skill that you're trying to master, you come into one of these hurdles, and, you're like, it's too high, I can't jump it, there's no way, I can't do it. But you think the person who does jump it is going to say, oh, it's just luck, God gave me long legs and so I'm able to jump high. That's not why the person jumped it. The person jumped it because they went and set up a box next to it that was half the size and did that 50 times until they decided they were ready to do the whole hurdle, And so anything that you put your time into, you're going to conquer, and it doesn't take luck, it takes persistence, and with persistence is going to yield results. And so that's one of the most beautiful things in my mind about life, is that you never know exactly what the hurdle is going to be. You never know exactly what the obstacle is. All you have to know is that you can beat it, that it's nothing, that it's nothing for you. And I mean, that just sparks a thought into my mind about mental health and all kinds of psychological difficulties and stuff. They provide you with hurdles that seem completely impossible to overcome, because for you, there's no way. For you, there's no one who has been able to do it before. So there's not an already paved path of which way to take and to do it. You just have to believe that you can do it yourself. And people are going to doubt you. They're not going to believe that you can. They're going to call you crazy, Like, I had a buddy who was autistic, and people constantly told him, you can't get a pretty girlfriend, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't, work a full-time job as good as other people because you just don't have that kind of mental capacity. But I always tried to explain to him that it's that lack of mental capacity that is going to give him the drive and the will to actually succeed, to actually push over those barriers in a unique kind of way. Because, it's like, me personally, whenever I'm at a job, I'm lucky to a point to where I have lots of willpower, lots of work ethic, all kinds of things. So you just put me in an area and I just start making shit happen. And people seeing me make shit happen, makes them want to make shit happen. But, somebody who might be autistic or have other psychological issues, they go into that situation and no one's expecting them to do a good job. It's the way that they improve, how quickly they improve. They're going to see, wow, this person went from ground zero to one of our best employees in 6 months simply because he wanted to. And so, in the way in which I can get people to work hard, yes, I can't get people to actually want to improve, to believe that they have the potential to improve. And so, just because you have some kind of psychological barrier doesn't mean that you can't succeed, that you can't jump over any hurdle. And in the way in which you jump over the hurdle, it's going to be 10 times more motivating than it would be for another person to jump over the hurdle because you had all of those psychological problems and stuff. And so, anything that seems like a barrier, psychological problems or otherwise, they're actually just things that yield a possibility or a strategy in which nobody else really has access to, because everybody learns things their own kind of way. For example, if you look at all the greatest artists or musicians or whatever, as they go along, they learn some of the same techniques, yes, but the way they learned those techniques are totally different, and there's not a single artist who sounds exactly the same. I mean, if you know everything that's going on in the rap industry right now, I mean, Eminem is just straight pissed, he's straight furious because all the mumble rappers sound the same. But what he fails to realize is that every single one of those mumble rappers can't possibly be the same because that's not the way that things happen. Like, they're all different in their own kind of way. They all have a different story, they all have a slightly different melody, they all have a different voice, a different tone, and due to those little aspects, they had to learn in a different way to do what they do. And so, anybody who becomes successful at anything, at first glance it might look, oh, he just got lucky, or oh, he's just doing what other people told him. But that's never the case, because you don't get to that point of success without having learned it your own way. Because if you just do it the same way other people did it, nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to watch it. Nobody even cares. They're not as interested in it if you're just doing the same thing that somebody else did. And so that's the thing that I love so much about change, about growth, is that it doesn't take a lot of effort. It happens naturally, all by itself, and there's going to be any number of obstacles of any possible size, and the only thing that you have to remember is that you're bigger than those obstacles. If you can remember that, then you're going to continuously keep on growing. And to me, it's those obstacles that make life fun. If it was just a smooth ride, a roller coaster that only goes up, or whatever, I don't think life would be fun. I think it would get boring. I think that you need those difficulties and those challenges in order to gain your own confidence, your own belief in yourself, and such kinds of things. And I know that it's a powerful statement as it is, but it's just like there's so many people out there who are in a situation where they feel stuck, like they can't actually get over this hurdle. But the one and only thing, and I'm telling you this now, that is keeping you from getting over that hurdle is thinking that it's too big. I mean, time is something that's interesting, okay, because people think, what? You want me to do this for 10 frickin' years? Like, that is an eighth of my life. Like, I'm not gonna do that for 10 years. But then at the end of the day, the results that opportunity yields is going to be worth 10 years of effort. Because if you look at the timeline of life, a 2,000-year period, okay, there's certain people who have made dramatic leaps in their little 80-year lifetimes. In their 5% of the 2,000 years we have historically documented, well, there's a select 150 people who made the differences that actually progressed us forward to where we are now. And do you think any of those people had expected such dramatic results from 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of effort? No, they just figured, it's fun. It's learning new ways to get over these obstacles. It's enjoyable. It's something that is part of life, and I'm not going to back down from that. I'm going to keep going up against it. And so what my point is that the people who have made those dramatic differences in the timeline of history, they dedicated a lot of time into what they did. The people who made small impacts in history, they dedicated a little bit of time into what they did. And so 5 years makes a lasting 1,000 years of difference. Like every single major choice that you make is going to dramatically change things for the future. It may be difficult to see, but something as simple as making a good burger at your work, or something as simple as doing a good job at your work, other people recognize that, and they get a sense of strength from that. They get a sense of motivation from that, and so that then becomes a part of who they are. And so you can't measure your success in material things, because it's bigger than that. Success consists of a million more things than material things. It consists of mental improvements, it consists of spiritual improvements, material improvements, scientific improvements, technological advances, religious efforts. All kinds of different things happen just because of little choices. And so when you actually take the time to put your effort into something for a long period of time, then you're going to see bigger results. And the interesting thing about that, is you think like, okay, so how far do I need to go to get a certain result? Say I want to create a new invention, and it's going to take me 10 years to do that. So I finish it, I complete the invention, boom. It's worth it now. That whole 10 years is now making a lasting difference that's going to carry on for 1,000 years. Do you stop there? Do you stop at that 10 years? Because that's another hurdle. That's another hurdle right there, is the hurdle of, did I do enough? It's like when a Olympic athlete runs a record time in a race. It's like, oh wow, I did it. My training, my effort, my dedication, it has all paid off. But now what? Do I keep going? Do I keep trying to push it? And at that point, the results are different. You're no longer getting paid more because you're the first place person. You're already getting paid out the ass. You're no longer surprising people because people expect you to be the best. But then at that point, it's personal improvement and personal growth that you're going. You're your own competition. There's no longer that number one spot you're trying to get over. You are that number one spot, and you're trying to set the bar higher and higher and higher for the people who come next. And by having a higher and higher and higher bar, you're going to produce people who want to reach and achieve and beat that bar. And so everything that we do has a very long-lasting impact, and the only thing that's necessary in order to create that growth, that natural duplication, multiplication of a skill, of a talent, is to believe that you can do it and have the dedication to not ever stop. I mean, yeah, there's certain points in which you can't continue going. Like, if you run out of money and you're an inventor, you can't keep inventing. It's not going to happen. If you're trying to run, I mean, sure, you can keep inventing stuff. You're just not going to be able to purchase all of the necessary things. So you're going to have to find other ways to invent and hope that maybe you'll get money later so that you can make the improvement. And with running or something like that, you eventually hit an age in which your body can't handle all that stress that you would be giving or putting onto your body, that load. And, you can hope that one day your health will get better and you can get back to it, but at the end of the day, those are the barriers that you can't break down. And when you hit those barriers, there's a couple of things you can do. You can just accept it, or you can keep on persisting. You keep on persisting, then you start to have, physical consequences. You start to run into financial debt and things like that. And so there's only so much that you're supposed to grow. Like, if you think of a forest, you don't want a tree growing out so much that it starts to damage other trees, right? You just want it to grow up nice, become a strong tree, beautiful, bears fruit, all that kind of stuff. Once you get to that point, then you can put your time into other things. And that's another beautiful thing about life, is there's no one thing that somebody wants to do. There's probably 100,000 things that somebody wants to do, and each one of those things can be accomplished. And when you accomplish them, you can realize that you can keep on setting the bar higher and higher and higher. But in my personal opinion, there's a point in which you've set the bar high enough, and it's time to start raising other bars up and making an impact in those different areas of your life too. And so, I don't know, I hope that motivates you to continue doing whatever you're doing. If you're confronting one of those hurdles, just really believe for 30 seconds, take the time to believe what it would be like if you knew for sure that you could get over this hurdle without a doubt. And then after that 30 seconds, start coming up with a plan on how you're going to get over that hurdle, because you can't, like I said, just run at the hurdle 100,000 times and hope that eventually it's going to work. I mean, granted, it might in some situations, but if the hurdle's too big, the hurdle's too big. You need to find some other way, and there's always another way to make it happen. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much going to be it for this video. I hope that it helps you out, and like I said, hope that it helps you get over any hurdles, believe that you have it in you to do so, and I hope that it just sheds some light on the beauty of life, because it often seems so dull, and like you work all the way up to this point just to get dropped back to the bottom. But even though it feels like that, that's not what's actually happening. What's actually happening is you're still constantly making progress. You've just hit a point in which you're making less progress, or so it seems. You're making progress on a different level. It may not be the physical level, it may not be the mental level, but there's some level in which you're still creating all kinds of change and difference. That's something that's gotten me really far in my music career. Not that I'm making a lot of money or anything, but I personally believe that I have improved so much. And one of the really big things that contributed to that growth, to that learning, and to expanding my knowledge of the rapping field is simply that, when I hit a barrier that seems too difficult to get over, I just keep on trying in different ways. And as I continue trying in different ways to get over a barrier, it seems sometimes like I'm not getting over it. I'm not making any progress. So then I shift my point of view. I'm like, okay, well, what angle am I not looking at this at? For example, I may be trying to make a song, and I get really tunnel visioned when I'm trying to make a song. So I'll be like, okay, so I want to make sure that this part bumps, and then when the chords set in, that I have a nice, really smooth chorus. But I can't seem to put the chorus together, and it's just annoying to me. But then, rather than thinking, oh, I'm not calm enough, I'm not hitting the chords well enough, I think maybe it's the lyrics. Maybe I'm so focused on the melody that I can't focus on the actual lyrics that I'm trying to get. And so then I start building up my level of lyrics, and then once my level of lyrics hits a certain point, then I can apply that to making my chorus or my whatever, my super cool part or super chill part of the song, and it actually works because the missing ingredient was found, basically. And you can apply that to anything, whether it's marketing, whether it's like music, whether it's a sport, whether it's just whatever. You're gonna run into situations in which you're like, I've been going at this, like, why can't I get over this hurdle? But the thing is, because maybe you need to go under it, if you catch my drift. Like, maybe you need to go around it instead of going over it. You need to try and find another angle at it, because with an athlete, they may be thinking, all I need to do is eat healthy and do my runs, and so I'm going to eat twice as much food and I'm going to do twice as much running so that I can get further. But little do they realize, the thing that is really, really messing them over is their relationship with their family, because it's taking so much energy from them that their mind's in the wrong place when they get on the field and they're thinking about their family. They can't just think about the race. So in that case, in order to make progression in your race, you need to first make progression with your family. And so there's all of these different variables that come into growing, but as you hit those barriers, it kind of forces you to look at the different areas of your life, or of your talent, or of your craft, or whatever it is. And at that point, you can get over that hurdle and just grow in a balanced manner in which everything is up to par and you just constantly keep growing. And again, it's a natural thing. It doesn't take a lot of thought, like, oh, what part do I need to do? It'll come to you just like that, like, because that's the point. That's that the art is wanting you to improve. Nothing wants to just stay down. Nothing wants to just get held down and crumble away and die. Everything wants to grow and flourish, and we live in a universe which supports that. And so, yeah, that should hopefully help you understand a little bit better the beauty of life, and the beauty particularly in the challenges of life, because often we look at life as good and bad, and the bad consists of the challenges, but the bad is part of the good. Like, the challenges are part of the progression. And so, yeah, that's all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.